The way that I would like to address that issue is by putting together a board, however you want to call it, advisory board, blue ribbon commission or whatever, that would actually take 6 months and do an internal examination of the PRC. And ethics is one of the biggest things they need to look at, but it's not just ethics. When you look at how we do power in New Mexico, for instance, we have a series of for-profit monopolies that do power. Other places have tried deregulation, and that honestly hasn't worked all that well, so I'm not saying we should maybe do that, but I think that we should look at the ethical issues. Are we doing enough to create a barrier between the PRC, both the commissioners and the staff, and the regulated industries? Are we doing enough to look to see how we reform the other issues that the PRC is responsible for? Is electric provision, the way we're doing it now, the best way we can do it? Or do other states do it better? I mean, Texas has found a way to have choice for power. I don't know if we could do it the same way here, probably can't because it's a different logistical model, but they found a way to do it. Can we start looking into doing things like that? And then when you look at the PRC itself, there are issues with the PRC. I mean, can a 5-person elected board truly have the ability to make good decisions for the public on these myriad of issues? I mean, you guys know the PRC. They do electricity, telephones, insurance, the state fire marshal's office. I was meeting with the president of the student government actually when you called earlier, Walt, and he was asking about a couple things. They do taxi cabs, and NMSU has that Crimson Cab thing. And also, NMSU is looking at trying to get some sort of medical transport on campus, because they get a lot of people that call Crimson Cab and a lot of people that call well, we used to call it the escort service, and they changed the name, thank God. But they changed it to something else. But people will call it if, hey, I broke a leg, or hey, I've got the flu, I need to go in, and they can't do it. Of doing like the fire department taking over a medical transport stuff, I'm like, you know, that's right up the PRC's alley. So, do we need to reform what they do, or how they're elected, or what we put into place? Because, look, the PRC's lost a lot of trust in the public. When I talk to folks, a lot of people don't even know what the PRC does. And the folks that have heard about the PRC, all they hear about is someone got hit in the head with a rock, this guy's on trial for public embezzlement, this guy cost the state $840,000 in sexual harassment stuff. I mean, that's all they know. And that
let's
sucks.
not forget about the pot.
Yeah. It's just one thing after another after another, and I don't want to take sides in anybody's stuff. What I will say is, people have to trust the board that they elect. If you don't trust me to follow basic rules and follow the law, how are you going to trust me to make decisions about good electric rates, fair electric rates? How are you going to trust me to do this other stuff? So that's really what I would say. You take some people that are not related to the PRC or the legislature or anybody. You give them 6 months and you give them, and those are just my ideas on what to have them to look at, but you've got to have that internal discussion. And one of the things we need to look at is ethics. I sat on the State Board of Common Cause for a year. You know me, I rewrote the county's ethics policy in Doñana. I mean, you guys know it was kind of a similar situation with the county commission in 2004 when I was elected. I mean, you remember all the stuff that was happening then, and I'm not saying I fixed the whole thing, but I was part of kind of restoring some of the trust between the public and the county, and I think I can do some similar things at the PRC.
Well, first of all, to me, a lot of the problems stem from the fact that some of these guys are career politicians. I mean, they've been there. You take like David King and Jerome Blocks, and they've been there forever. I knew Jerome Jr.'s dad way back when I was in the legislature 25 years ago. And before that, when I was in construction business, he was head of the construction industry division. They've been there so long that they get to thinking that, hey, I don't have to listen to the public that elected me. I can do as I please when I sit here. And over the years, they've done that, and to me, even dating back to the Corporation Commission days before the PRC, the commissioners, in effect, gave away a lot of their authority. The guys that are sitting there now, the 5 guys that are sitting there today, have very little authority. The bureaucrats run the PRC. The commissioners, they don't even get to see a rate request until after the lawyers have already seen it and the hearing officer has seen it and everybody else. Then finally it comes down to the PRC commissioners. And so to me, over the years, they've eroded away their authority. They have very little left, and If I'm elected, the first thing I'm gonna do is sit down with the other 4 commissioners and say, hey, let's try to get back that authority so that we can run the PRC the way it should be run and the way it should serve everybody in the state of New Mexico. Because to me, it is one of the most important commissions in the state. You affect everybody's life every day and every night, with the decisions you do make or you don't make. And right now, the commissioners are not making the decisions. So